Welcome back, my friends. Let me tell you one of my greatest accomplishments in life up until this day today. What is it? Well, as the title suggests, I am happy. You ask a person in the world, hey, are you happy? Well, maybe they say, yes, I'm happy for that day, or yes, I'm happy for that week, or yes, I'm happy for that month, or yes, I'm happy for that year. That's a fantastic human being. You should align yourself with them. But can people really claim that they're happy, truly happy? I don't mean momentarily happy, like this makes me happy or that makes me happy, but happy as an internal state, internal quality. I wasn't able to answer this question with a yes answer for many years of my life. In fact, I miserably suffered. Suffered miserably. Why? Well, because no knowledge, lack of knowledge as to how the world works, most specifically, most importantly, how the mind works. If you don't know how the mind works, if you haven't been liberated by the mind or from the mind, you are going to intensely suffer. And I don't have to tell you anything about this because you already know. Let me just light up a little lamp here, oil lamp. Uh-oh, it's not working. All right, there we go, fire, baby. We got fire. So I'm happy. That's a big accomplishment of mine because I've went through so many experiences in my life that, oh my God, you should have seen it. There should have been a camera on me and videotaping me because that's quite a story to tell. So I guess I have to share this with you. At one time I was in Burma, Myanmar, in a Buddhist monastery, and just to give you some perspective of this monastery, it was a very intense place. Oh my God. And one monk decided to turn himself off, if you know what that means. He did something. He went to the rope store and you can figure it out what he did. And he did it in the meditation hall for everyone to see. That I guess happy that I didn't get to see it because I don't know, just circumstances had it that I didn't go into that meditation hall for 2 or 3 days as this was happening. And the head monk of the whole facility had the wisdom to take him down, put him on a table, and to leave him, not move him. Hey, monks, you come and observe your spiritual brother and how his body's going to transform in the next few days. And after the smell was getting too intense and too severe, they had to do something about it. So I missed that whole process. And I'm glad I did, because if I got to see that, if those energies touched me, I didn't know how to handle them. I didn't have a way to filter this. I didn't have my Vishuddhi chakra active. I would have suffered definitely much more intensely than I already did. So it was a time I was meditating countless of hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day, every single day, literally. I would have breakfast and meditate, lunch and meditate, and then basically go to sleep. So 6 to 8 hours a day, for sure. For weeks I would do this. And then it was time to leave. I decided I'm going to go somewhere else, but I had no plan. I was just a leaf blowing in the wind. I had no direction. And that was one of the worst decisions of my life because I just spun out of control. I had no logical understanding of how this life works. I did so many things to my mind and body that caused all sorts of internal chaos within myself. So I found myself in a ravine where the dirty bog water flows, and just sitting there with the mosquitoes coming and biting me, people on the outside looking out the windows and thinking, what, this guy is definitely, something has happened to him, and something did happen to me. Internally, what was going through my mind? Well, I had a plan. Okay, this is not just me going off the rails, although some part of me did. Not really. But my plan was to go into the fear of whatever is inside of me. So I definitely didn't want to go in there. The energy obviously wasn't conducive for a human being, but that's exactly where I went. Why? Because my mind resisted that to some extent. And so, okay, let's see what happens. So I went into the dirty water, mosquitoes biting me. I'm not touching the mosquitoes. I'm just letting them devour me. And I'm standing there for 5 minutes. I don't know how long it's going to take me for my mind to break and for me to finally understand, okay, I need to go. This is not conducive for the human being or for myself, my body. I didn't get that. Thankfully, some people came and pulled me out of there. And as soon as they pulled me out of there, they put me in a taxi. I just started crying my eyes out. Okay, I couldn't stop crying. Just a few hours before this experience happened, also, I just decided to lay down on the rocks, on the stones, not on earth or not on grass, but on the rocks. Just hand-sized rocks, and very uncomfortable. And I'm sitting in an uncomfortable posture. The sun is beaming down my face. Bugs are crawling over me. Mosquitoes are biting me. And I'm just sitting there. Why? Because I want the ultimate amount of pain. This is not conducive, by the way, for you watching me. This is not smart or intelligent. Don't do this. But this is the mental state that I was in. And I thought that I'm going to sit here and my back is going to hurt, my muscles are going to ache, and I'm going to be extremely uncomfortable. The sun is going to cook me. Bugs and mosquitoes are going to bite at me and consume whatever that they want to consume. And I'm going to sit here until the pain becomes so intense and so unbearable, so godly unbearable, that I just attain enlightenment. Well, sadly, unfortunately, that didn't happen. I didn't attain enlightenment. I just attained much more, I damaged my emotions to a very severe extent, which is very, very sad. So thankfully, I got out of that situation. I got out of that country. Let me just mention one final thing here, is that this night that this happened, when I totally had no desire to go anywhere and I had no direction, because, no containment, no boundaries holding me in any place, I just decided I'm going to be a wandering nobody. I'm going to be a homeless person, a homeless man, truly. That's what I wanted to be. So I took a little pouch that I had with my passport, my phone, my couple of $100 worth of money. In that country, it's a lot. And whatever other valuable things that I had, and I just tossed it on someone's front lawn. In a third world country, a military-run country, I was assuming that they would just take it and it would be like a godsend to them. And then I threw away my shoes, and I dug into my pockets, and I had two things. I had a pen with me, and I had an iPhone charger, just the cord, no inlet. And I just started walking north. I didn't know where I was going to go. It was the middle of the night. It was midnight. It was a dangerous, it's a dangerous, I don't have to tell you that poverty leads to danger. And I just started walking, and I thought that I was going to walk until sunrise and then beg for food from someone else. And my mother, my father, my brother, any of my relatives, my friends, that they have no idea where I'm going to be, where I am. I'm just going to disappear, fade into the wind. And somehow if I get out of the situation, that's great. I'm going to become like, a Buddhist monk, truly a Buddhist monk, but no rules or boundaries holding me. So that's what I thought. I was gonna basically wait around until sunrise came, and I was gonna beg for food, and that's how I was going to survive. Just starting out from zero. I walked for some time, and then I realized, I don't know how I got to this space, but I was laying in what looked like a factory, and I was in the front gates of the factory, basically on the sidewalk. And it was pitch black, nighttime. There was some light from the factory glowing, but there were no humans there. There was a few workers way inside, but they didn't know I was there. They didn't have any idea to see me. So I was just laying on this concrete, just laying on the floor. So much suffering, so much misery. I had caused so much chaos inside of my bloodstream that it would take me it took me years to recover from that, and I'm not sure if I still recovered from that. So I'm laying on this bed, I'm looking at the stars, and I'm just in so much pain, you have no idea. My heart is burning. I feel like I did some very severe damage to myself, emotionally speaking, mentally speaking, whatever, energy speaking, in every single way. And then a thought arose in my mind that this is going to be the decision point that I'm going to make, and from this day forward, I'm going to make myself happy. So the thought that I had, from now on, I'm going to do everything that I can do to make myself happy. At that time, I didn't really have any capabilities of doing this for myself. I thought that God is going to do this for me, so I said, God, I'm going to make myself happy. And to some extent, I also knew that I have to take responsibility for my own body, and I have to make myself happy. So I just started saying, I am happy, and I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy, and I am happy. I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. The hotel lights just turned off because that's just the nature of things here. This happens quite frequently, but that's besides the point. That's irrelevant. So I just started chanting this mantra that I am happy, and it felt like I was lying to myself. It felt so far away from that possibility, felt so out of reach, and it was out of reach, and I was definitely lying to myself. But that was the first step that I took. Give me a moment, let me drink this water. Shiva, Shambho. So I'm saying to myself, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And I woke up the security guard that's sleeping in the booth. He was sleeping in the booth just a few meters away from me. He didn't hear me speak. He didn't hear anything I said. But I started chanting this little mantra to myself, I am happy. He woke up. And I thought it was funny because he's sleeping on the job and he was utterly confused because it's not like a third world country, I want you to understand. It's a military run country. I was there on a special visa, a meditation visa. It's the only one of its kind on planet Earth. And here he is looking at me, a Westerner, a white person in a land where that's not commonly seen. He was surprised, he was shocked, he was scared. He made a few phone calls, a couple of minutes went by and the police show up. The police don't show up in their regular uniform, they just show up in their regular clothes because I guess they were sleeping. I woke up the police chief that speaks English, and I'm resisting them. They're asking me what my name is. I'm saying I don't know, okay? I don't have a name. That's truly, because in that moment, and it's a true fact that I don't have a name. I went far beyond what my little identity is or my name is or what it says on my passport. That was all erased in me. All I wanted to go to was utter and total emptiness, which I did. It would take me a few years for that to fully culminate, but at that moment I had glimpses and I had this subtle perception that this thing existed, that the entire universe is utterly and completely empty. So they're asking me what my name is. I say I don't know. Which country you're from? I have no idea. What's your thing? What's that? I don't know. I don't know anything. They realize that I'm having a little situation with myself. And then something remarkable happened. The police chief, he was a very nice and friendly guy. I got along with him. He reached into his pocket and he took out a revolver, a 44 Magnum, if you know what that means. And that was the first thing that was real and normal to me. And I just couldn't stop smiling. I was just laughing. Not laughing, but I was smiling. Wow, that's fantastic. Because I always wanted to see something like this, and I'm in this weird situation. And that's gave me the first sign, okay, everything is normal, everything is fine. And here, this is kind of a significant thing that's happened to me. And he's just showing this to me because he wants to show me that he's an authority and also that we're not playing around here. But he did it in a very playful and unique manner. He didn't have a badge, so I guess that's what he showed me. He's like, hey, look at this. Okay. So some thoughts ran into my head, but I decided, okay, there's no point. I'm just gonna go with the wind. Whatever they decide for me, if I'm going to go to jail, I was ready to go. I was prepared to go to the Myanmar prison or jail, whatever, and experience that whole situation because no amount of suffering was going to, I don't know. I was willing to intake as much suffering as God was willing to put into me. And so that's exactly what I did or I planned to do. Fortunately, they had the wisdom and insight to understand that I'm from the monastery, the international monastery that's just a few kilometers away. And so they took me back and they explained the situation, what had happened. And long story short, I just went to my room and fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up, I packed all my bags. They took me with a taxi to the town or the city, Yangon, I believe. And I slept in a hotel room there. I woke up feeling very refreshed. Everyone was gone. I was there by myself. And then I took a plane ride to, I thought I wanted to go to India. Which India, anyways, cutting a long story short, that didn't happen. I was denied entry to this country the first time because I didn't have the right paperwork to show. So I ended up going to Malaysia. And in Malaysia, I swam on the beach and finally starting to rework my system and making myself happy. So this was in 2018. 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 5, 6, 7. 7 years it took me. 7 years. 7 years. We're gonna cut it down maybe to 5 years because I was already starting to make significant progress about 2 years ago. But maybe 6 years, 6 to 7 years is when I finally and fully achieved this goal. Well, for sure 6 years because 2023, on July 20th, I had my big breakthrough and realization. I had my realization. The top of my head finally opened, and that's it. Nothing left for me to do. So I'm going to briefly explain to you and share with you what this realization is, what this realization was, what this process of enlightenment is. I don't like this word enlightenment. It doesn't do it justice. And then what else can I share with you? So my friends, This is exactly what this is. Realization is just that. I've achieved my highest goal, my most significant, most dearest goal that I've had in my life ever since I came in contact with the Buddha's teachings at 19 years of age. I knew with 100% certainty that this is what I was going to do. This is what I wanted to do, which was to achieve nirvana, to achieve enlightenment. And I struggled and strived and overcame so many major obstacles. And how long did this pass? Approximately 8 to 9 years later, I achieved this goal in 2023 in Australia, in all places. So I've achieved my goal, and my friends, I recently was talking to an individual that reached out to me, just asked me some questions. By the way, if you're watching me, if you stumbled upon my video, reach out to me on Facebook, okay? I'll gladly answer some of your basic questions. We can chat. I can help you out, okay? I can solve you for free, no cost. Facebook link will be down below, okay? Do yourself a favor. Truly, do yourself a favor, okay? And so, why was I saying this? Yeah, Australia of all places, realization. Yeah, so this person is talking to me, and it made me realize that my attainment, he asked me if I'm enlightened or I claim to be enlightened. You don't have to believe me, it's okay. You don't have to believe me, don't believe me, but it's just the way it is. This is what I claim for myself. That this thing that I had realized, it's the most significant achievement of my life. Even if I have made $100 million, it would be paling in comparison to what I have inside of me. And of course, I wouldn't mind $100 million. It'd be very nice. I'm sure that would be my second most important and significant achievement and milestone. But doesn't cut it. So, whenever I talk to someone and whenever my perception goes to myself, how I look at my life and whatever I'm doing with my life, I can always, and I do always, fall back on this milestone, on this achievement. I've crossed a hurdle that many haven't crossed, or are very difficult to cross. Very rare it is for you to cross, and I've crossed it. I'm very, very thankful, and I'm here to help you cross the same hurdle as well, the same obstacle as well. So it makes me very happy knowing that I did this. It makes me extremely happy, and not easy, quite difficult. It feels like it is like you finishing a triathlon, let's say, for example, that you are in this triathlon, you can't really quit because you're in it, and you have to continuously go over challenges, go over obstacles, and when you reach the finish line, that's it. You can stop. You're no longer in threat of, I don't know, being disqualified or falling into the mud or, getting tired or dehydrated or anything. You can just rest. You can drink water. You can go home and rest and sleep. You can take a shower. You can do whatever you want. You can go eat some vegan pizza. You can do whatever. This is what it feels like. I've finished the line. I've finished the race. What is there to do? Many people have confusion about this enlightenment process and what it means, what it is. It's just like this. I still am alive. I'm still here. I still have to do whatever I have to do, but there is no more suffering in me. That's the most significant thing that I have to share with you. Nothing that there is in me that's suffering. I recently did an interview with this guy, Russ Moose. He's a very interesting character. And he stormed out of, we were having dinner, and he just stormed out because I answered his question about enlightenment in a way that he didn't perceive was accurate, and he left in a stormy, fiery rage. This is the biggest confusion that there is on a planet, because if you don't have this, it's the most confusing thing in the world. You can't imagine what this is like. If you do have this, well, hopefully you have some wisdom about you that you can perceive certain things and you can have equanimity and whatever else. The next most significant thing that I have to share with you, my friends, in this video is that enlightenment isn't, or let's replace the word enlightenment with realization, that realization isn't the end-all be-all. Well, it is in a major sense. Okay, it is. It's huge. It's a humongous accomplishment. Yet, you can still feel unhappy. You can still go through troubles and trauma and things and X, Y, and Z and everything. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you're blissful all the time. So what does it mean? I have to explain, because in a sense I'm also confused as it comes to this, so I'm trying to figure it out myself. Human beings' internal experience is a chemistry. It's based on chemistry. It's how your chemistry is within yourself right now. It's very well observable, because when you wake up and you go through your day and you haven't eaten food, you become grumpy, you can become grumpy, and the energy goes down, and all it takes is a sip of orange juice, and boom, right away your system opens up and everything becomes clearer and you become very happy. So this is a chemistry soup. How well you are conducting your chemistry is ultimately how well you are going to live life. So I'm looking at life, I'm judging life based on the milestone of Sadhguru, okay? Because out of every human being on this planet, I have not found a man, woman, or child who has that amount of mastery. No one has come close. And why? How do I know this? Because of the accomplishments that man has done and achieved. He has consecrated the Dhyana Linga, which is an energy machine with 114 energy points. It's like a full-fledged human being. It's everything that there is inside of that stone. This is a little smaller representation of that, just for me to connect to this energy and exude it outwards. So that man has fully mastered life. He has complete control over his nervous system. He has complete control over his chemistry. He has learned all of the tricks of the body. He knows how to make himself happy. He knows the chemistry that he can, whatever is required. And this requires learning. It requires years of learning and paying attention to life. Realization, here I'll quote Sadhguru basically. Sadhguru says, just to get to realize is very simple. Someone just basically, knocks on your head, knocks on your skull a little bit, like, hello, is anyone there? That's enough to get you realized. Just a little bit of a shaking you need. Hey, wake up. Oh my God. That's it. You're realized. Okay? Not a big accomplishment. And when you're realized, there is no more suffering. That's the most fantastic thing. What does that mean, no more suffering? Because, my friends, for the majority of you out there, or the majority of human beings out there, the majority of life on this planet, the majority of human beings on this planet, the intellect is something that is turning against you. It's turning against the human being. It's like your hand punching you in the face. It's like that, but instead of your hand, it's your thoughts and your mind and your emotions, and you don't know how to handle it, and it seems like it's attacking you. And so much trauma and pain you cause yourself. You cause yourself this. Why? Simply because you don't know the internal nature of this technology. Once the internal nature of this technology is learned, once you really learn the finish line of this and everything that's going on inside of this, it becomes very simple. There's no more suffering in that way. Sure, you can go through pain. Sure, you can go through, if some major thing happens in your life, you're not going to be, hey, I'm enlightened, everything is peachy. No. What you do have is wisdom. What you do have is clarity. What you do have is understanding. Yet still, life can be sad. You can go through all the emotions. But suffering, self-caused suffering, which is what suffering is, that's no longer a possibility, because the game has been seen clearly. You can't go back to injuring yourself like that, which I was definitely doing for the majority of my life. So yet, even after you're realized, if you want to be a repository for the future, if you want to learn something and master something and to be capable in the world to do something, well, you need learning. You need to pay attention. Simply being realized is not enough. There are lots of realized beings, even in this wonderful land, India, that, you wouldn't think anything of it. Maybe they're even illiterate people, just working on the land. They don't know anything, but inside of themselves, they're very sweet. Well, that's just how it is. But to get to a state like Sadhguru, which is mastery over the 7 chakras, that takes something completely different. And that's where I'm going towards. That's what I'm heading. So enlightenment isn't the end. Well, of course, final enlightenment, you can say, is the end. That's when your body has lived out its ripe old age and things happen, and then it's like an ice cube gets dropped into the ocean. It dissolves, you dissolve back into, everything goes back to where it needs to go. That's the ending. That's the end game. But right now, I'm still living on. The Buddha very appropriately called it he said there is enlightenment, or there is nirvana, there is realization, and there's final realization, or final enlightenment, or final nirvana, which is the time of the dissolution. So right now I'm just realized. I'm just have attainment. The final attainment, the actual complete attainment, is going to be when this one goes away. This one sheds itself.